Well, Wall Street is closed today, but when markets open tomorrow, it will be one of the 4 trading days left this year. And 2022 is set to close out as a brutal year for big tech companies. Joining us now to talk about it is NewsNation business contributor Lydia Moynihan. Lydia, thank you for being here. So in these last few weeks, we've seen companies like Facebook, Twitter, and Tesla tank. What's in store for them, do you think, next year?
I think tech companies had sort of a reckoning this year. During the pandemic, they were way overvalued. People were very excited about these stocks. And so this year, I think they're just sort of coming to ground again. But look, I mean, no one really got it right, unfortunately, for 2022. Last year at this time, there was a lot of optimism. People were saying that this sort of nascent inflation we were experiencing was transitory, that it was going to pass, and that the economy was going to come roaring back. And unfortunately, we just had a lot of unforeseen circumstances. There was the war in Ukraine that exacerbated a lot of these existing supply chain issues. China continued its COVID lockdowns long past what anyone predicted. And inflation reached levels we haven't seen since 1984. So it's really hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, but really no one got it right. And so I think tech companies were one of the many sort of victims of all of these issues. And, you know, hopefully this year we'll be a little bit better. 90% of economists think that inflation has peaked, and we're already seeing it sort of come down. And so it certainly seems like we're on a better trajectory this year than we were last year at this time.
So we've got about 30 seconds left, but obviously, you know, there are fears of a recession. So what should people expect, you think, next year? Do you see a recession in the near future?
Well, certainly if last year was any indication, predictions are just kind of a wash at this point. I think the overarching thing, though, that's been a concern in the economy is inflation. And as the Federal Reserve tries to raise rates, it's all about addressing inflation. And so I think the fact that we're seeing that kind of finally come down and subside is really good news that we should focus on. Whether or not the Federal Reserve continues to hike rates at such an aggressive pace, they push us into a recession, remains to be seen. But I think we're already seeing some of the cooling. And so the hope is that this is really as bad as it gets, and that we will kind of continue forward as we head into the next year.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.